All right, guys, I'm back with episode 6 with aka Jill Sixx is part of episode 6. And we are doing this chatting with series. If you are enjoying what you're liking so far, especially this episode, feel free to thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Today I have Jill Gevargizian, and she is this amazing filmmaker. We've actually spoken more online, like digitally, and so this is our first time talking face to face, Zoom to Zoom. Welcome. How
Good,
are
thank
you
you.
doing today?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, whenever I meet people like this, I'm like, what are you supposed to say? Face to face. We're using our real voices at least.
Yes, our real voices, and then I'm obviously in your salon,
Yeah,
which
I'm pretty amazed because I'm not even there today and looks like nobody's working.
I know. I mean, somebody like kind of zhuzhed my hair a few minutes ago, but I'm still waiting for I don't know, just like a final touch up. But speaking of touch-ups, the stylist just got picture locked. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
it's
a,
all still like totally surreal. I don't even know how it's happening.
yeah, and you're really lucky that you got everything kind of in pre-lockdown for a lot of the country, and you're able to just zhuzh up and finish up this amazing feature.
Yeah, really we were we actually we wrapped shooting like mid-February, and then it was just like 3-4 weeks till it got really intense with the virus. And we did not, I guess nobody anticipated how serious it was going to get. And not until like the day it was that serious, really, for me, did I realize what was going on.
Yeah.
And how lucky we were to get the film shot before this. Like, oh, thank God. Oh my God.
And this is a feature-length version of your short film, which is the stylist name also. It's really cool that you were able to also, I feel like it's something that people are going to start doing, especially in light of this kind of changing landscape. You took advantage of crowdsourcing. So
Yeah.
that was incredible to watch, and I was happy to contribute and like share that because you are really able to galvanize people towards your projects. You want to talk about that experience, like what it was like to just be like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to crowdsource.
Yeah. Well, it was really is interesting the way this has all panned out, because it's kind of like what inspired me to finally just like dive into it all. Was my mom went through a really bad health scare last year, and it was just like another thing to like wake me up to like that made me think, like all those cheesy things we hear are true about like time being precious and to not take it for granted. Literally, you never know what's going to happen the next day. And like that's what inspired me to be like, fuck, like waiting for some like big company to finance this movie one day, maybe never, probably never. And so we just decided to do that crowdfunder. And then it even, like, I feel like that lesson came here again when we're like, we got it shot barely in time. It's like, thank God we decided to do that. And we did a Kickstarter with the short, and then I had done one with my previous short, Call Girl. They're like a huge undertaking, so it's terrifying. I mean, even when we raised like 5,000 with the short, that's hard. So this one I did way more research. I like did like spreadsheets of all these successful projects, like how they raised their money, what their perks were. Like going from like 5,000 to trying to maybe raise like 50 was like, I was like, I don't even know if that's honestly possible. um, but somehow it happened. It was a scary and really exciting period. It was like a month, the campaign.
Yeah, I did a campaign, well, technically two. One I was associated with to finish up post-production for the Newcomb High series I was in, but then my husband and I, we were just trying to raise 3,000 for a play that nobody would see, that we couldn't really do all that much merch. And so it's like every day you're just like expressing gratitude. You're just constantly
Yeah.
like, could you let so and so know? And like, I mean, so yeah, it consumes you, crowdsourcing, but I think in the long run, it's kind of like a pre-marketing marketing, like you're pre-advertising how you want it once it's out there. And I think I talked with Jen Wexler, you saw earlier, and she says hi, by the way. She talked to me about her film, and I think something with both of your films and your film styles is you do come from a very specific aesthetic. And I think that the stylist was a very, very easy sell to a feature because you established a world, whether short films are tricky because I think the stronger ones, yeah, you have to tell a story in a short period, but I think they're really playing grounds for demonstrating a director's ability to create a world. And I think that you do that very successfully in your short form content. So
thank you.
Yeah, I just was watching Call Girl recently because it was inspiring me with just what you were able to accomplish with this one shot, and how people are probably going to go back to that right now. I mean, I'm already shooting a short film with a script that was sent to me, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to do it? I'm going to use this ring light.
Yeah, I was just talking about this the other day, that I wonder if, even though it's already started, the unfriended style, the screen, all the whole films on a screen, Searching, also that's the same producers that did all those movies. It's the one way to make a movie right now. And with Call Girl, it's interesting. I thought that was for my first film was going to be an easier thing, but shooting all one shot from one angle presented a million, especially, unique challenges. It's wait, we can't cut away unless everyone just falls out of the frame, and then we have to hide the cut with visual effects. And
it was very clever. It was very clever what you did with that. And I definitely, and such a treat, you've gotten to work with Tristan Risk a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Frankenstein Created Bikers that you were AD on.
Yes, that film is insane. A crazy exploitation film. It was actually shot on 35 millimeters. So that was such a cool experience to learn, just to see all that happen and realize the differences that are obvious, but also not till you really see it happen. And then even the idea of how we go way too far into perfection now because of digital, because you can just reshoot it 1,000 times, or in post-production you can fix the camera work and make it smoother. Back in the day, you just lived with 2 takes of everything or less, and it's just that's the movie. Sometimes I try to convince the techie side of the crew, it's okay if there's a mistake in the movie, it's okay if it looks like humans made the movie and not robots. But that does not normally convince the tech people, which I understand.
Yeah.
They want it to be perfect.
That reminds me of one of the questions that I've been making sure to ask all of my guests that come on is, what do you find, especially when you talk about grit, I see a lot of themes of voyeurism and depravity in your work, and just that kind of retro style, but also very sleek in the stylist. What do you find to be your North Star, your guiding core value when you're making your art, or something that is signature Jill?
Well, the way I prepared for this answer is not exactly how you asked that. I guess what's most important to me, and it really isn't as reflected in my shorts as except for the stylist, is character. And why I'm so in love with the stylist is because it's a character piece, and to me it's more about a person than it is a story, a specific storyline. And because a lot of people I think they are expecting me to, or want to know her whole life story, and I'm it's just a little snippet of her. But really, what it's not really what I was thinking about with this was that just what keeps me from especially in this time, we've all been stuck at home, is just being able to be consumed by a project. And I said, you were saying, I feel so lucky that we got it shot so that we could we had this time to like fully immerse in post-production, while the downside is I couldn't work. So I'm not paying myself in post-production or at all on this film with the budget that it's at. So, but it really needed like my full-time attention. I was thinking like, if I was working during this, I don't know, like post would have taken, the edit itself would have taken a lot longer. And we were on the phone every 2 days for like 5 hours, or on Zoom for every few days for 5 hours at a time. But I feel like I learned when I first like got into filmmaking, I realized that like this fed a lot of things I needed. Like I've always liked to be creative, but I feel like every film is like a new journey. It like almost feeds my like wanderlust and my like need for like new. Because like while every project has like pre-production, like the same steps, every step is full of like every film takes you on a different journey. You have to go find this for that film. Like you're never filming the same location or the same scene, so it's like always this like exciting journey.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm like most obsessed with about it. And I'm an obsessive person. I'm not obsessed with like the project, I know it, if I can't be, I know it's not something I should try to make.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely see that in your work. And I know you've said at times that, something that you love exploring when you say that you love character, which is definitely evident, is you love like the way you can dissect characters to an effect. Like when we know more about the dark people who do dark things, like it's more interesting, but at the same time more disturbing. And
Yeah.
I really I'm really eager to catch up on a couple of your films, 42 Counts and One Last Meal. I know that, you know 42 Counts was based on a true story. Is that?
Yeah. It and that one you can watch on Alter right now.
Yes.
Um One Last Meal will eventually be on Alter. But 42 Counts is based on a true story that happened here in Kansas City that I was kind of I was like a few degrees away from hearing when it first happened, and just it always stuck with me how it could seem like this minor thing, but to the victim that would be like life changing. And it was about this chain of tattoo shops in Kansas City. The man who owned them, he owned these apartments above a couple of them, and come to find out he had like put 12 or 13 cameras in one of the apartments and was watching this girl for like 6 months plus, like 4 in her bathroom, like that were like installed in the walls, like very intricate, like thought out plan. And how like planned and intricate it was is how like scary it is to me, is what makes it so scary. The story was like they found a couple like fake smoke detectors in the main rooms that are cameras, which I learned how easy it is to buy those, which is very scary. And they called the cops on that. The cops found the additional cameras in the bathroom and led that to the basement where there was like a computer with like all the feeds from upstairs. And then someone like that just gets like he got 42 counts of invasion of privacy and like spent not even a year in jail. And I'm just like, that is like an assault that should be treated pretty seriously to me. And someone like that, they say like those kind of people that evolves. You're not like that type of person isn't satisfied normally with like just watching. It normally evolves to violence eventually. And so it just really made me, we made a film about discovering that, like the evening if you were to discover that in your apartment. And it was a scary experience making it, because we actually bought some of those smoke detector cameras and made like the fake feed on a computer screen. So we actually like we filmed fake feeds in an apartment. And just the real woman said that at one point the landlord said he was redoing her bathroom, and I believe he actually was putting those cameras in like right under her nose. Like the few he had put up wasn't enough and then needed more. And so then people like that the law hasn't caught up to like technology and what people can do. So it's pretty scary.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And speaking of like and I don't even want to go into it, but like just thinking about how they're under the radar. The government is trying to like supposedly reenact like some of the Patriot Act, so they want to like monitor us under the duress of
Yeah.
this thing going on in the country. And there's so many things, like you said, people are not catching up with technology and the different ways that you can be, you know, bothered. I haven't been, knock on wood, I haven't been like Zoom bombed yet on this channel, but like that apparently happens. There's just so many things. And yeah, I mean, oh my god, I just thinking about that, like I watched a really interesting, I'll put it, movie with Haley Duff that was like about that, but obviously not well made. But they were like filming everything about her, and they were trying to gaslight her into thinking that she was just paranoid.
Was it there's like a movie called 12 Cameras and 13 Camera. I feel like it's like a sequel. It's like 13 Cameras. I haven't seen it.
I don't know, but it's definitely more of a like made for TV glossy kind of movie. And I just started watching it, and then the twist ended up switching gears to something more on par with like, I haven't seen it yet, but like The Hunt. Like the end of it was like, oh, everyone's live watching so that they can murder her in her home. It was really, and I was like, this is for Lifetime Movie Network?
Lifetime actually wants horror movies now, I hear.
Oh, that's why I actually subscribed to Lifetime Movie Channel during quarantine. I was like, Preston Fossil from Fangoria suggested Stalked by My Doctor with Eric Roberts, buzzed through those movies, and I watched a lot of like 80s, 90s, but a lot of them are like murderess movies. Like there's a really good one with Helen Hunt that I think you might like. It's kind of like To Die For with Nicole Kidman. Like she seduces a teenager and gets him to do stuff. But speaking of seductiveness, I wanted to hear you talk about your love of the stripper world, hustlers, like just being a free spirit. I don't know if you knew this about me, but in college, one of my like physical education electives, I did off-campus strip pole dancing. So I did like a strip class, belly dancing, pole dancing at this place called Flex Appeal. And I ended up actually doing a vocal character piece on my instructor because I was really fascinated with her voice. So,
oh my god, this is great because I actually wanted to bring up this whole topic.
Okay, amazing, because I'm all about like female, like just openness and sexuality and the performance and how important it is right now, actually. So
yeah, well, I don't even know where all this started. I've always been very obsessed with the sex work world, and like especially strippers was what I first like knew of as a kid. Like when I turned 18, I was like, we're going to a strip club. Like I wanted to go the second I could go. I don't know. I was always so intrigued by that world. Yeah. Well, what's funny is I was watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit like a week or two ago, which was a childhood like obsession. And I think like Jessica Rabbit is the like beginning of all of this in my head, because like I would dress up like her when I was young and like know I was trying to like act sexy, not even really knowing what that meant. But like I've stripped on and off in my life, and like every birthday I'm to drag everyone I know to the strip club, even like people that aren't necessarily that's their thing. I'm always trying to go like when we used to be able to go out, if we would go anywhere, I'd be like, let's go to Shady Lady, one of my favorites in Kansas City. I just love to support that world, and I've just always been so intrigued by it. There's a lot of negative in the world, that world, and that's because of how unsafe it is, and that's because of how the world is treating it, not because of the fact that it exists at all. But it really is. There's a lot of positive from it. It like women, and not just women, all kinds of people gain like crazy confidence from it in your body and your sexuality you never had before. And I think it's something being around it, you know, there's so much like shame placed on not even just like that world, but even just like nudity at all. And it's just interesting how ingrained that is in us, and like the the shame that even someone like me who's like the biggest like sex work ally, that stuff is like ingrained in our society that you have to like consciously get it out of your system. Like whorephobia, a lot of people talk about like you support strippers but you think like a full service sex worker is wrong or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm crazy passionate about this world, obviously.
Too. I mean, it doesn't necessarily seem like something that would be my brand per se, but like I've always been just thinking there are certain things in this country specifically like that get attacked, like you said, because of how it's handled in our society versus what it is. Like, for instance, legalization of marijuana, like once it's legal and like regulated, there's a bunch of stuff I could talk about that. That's like a little more, there's a lot of gray area, but when things are illegal, the power play between the people providing a service, it just becomes very complicated. But when things are legal and they're fine, it's like society treats it with a little more respect. And I feel like there are certainly murky territories in like the sex worker world and like the stripper world and all of that. But I think that I know a lot of women who find power in doing that and who find feminine like delight in like sharing their bodies and like let's be real, like female bodies are totally like aesthetically pleasing, you know, they're like
Yeah.
they're beautiful curvatures. You know, I've studied a lot of science. When I had my YouTube channel 10 years ago, I talked about this book by Dr. Barash, which talks about women's curves and like how a lot of it is based off of like the visual pleasure less than the function. So like we don't have to have boobs when we're not lactating, but we do. You know, like there's a lot about it that's pleasing, and I just think it's really cool about you that you seem to like to study the characters in the places of society that people don't necessarily want to always give a platform. And
Yeah.
especially this, I mean, it's like super empowering, and like I just love that when Hustlers came out that they kind of began this destigmatization that needed to happen in another wave, because I know it happens every few years. People are like, I love strippers, and then they like hate them, and then they make up all this just hate stuff about it. But
You would be, I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that like even though like stripping is a completely legal thing almost in every state right now, like all of this special relief funding like does like has excluded all sex work, whether it's legal or not.
yeah,
Even in places like New York, like there's like, you know, all this special relief, like the, what was it, the pandemic special, you know, like the unemployment that applied to people who are like self-employed, because normally we can't, like even as a hairstylist, I'm self-employed, so you can't normally apply obviously for that kind of stuff. But they created special, you know, do things so that we could, but then that all those specifically still excluded sex work. And it's like, that's how deep this shame still exists, even though the kind of people that make these laws, those are the like biggest type of clientele that go, like it's the biggest like you know, double standard. Those are the men that go to the strip clubs and they lie about it, and then they make laws saying that they're wrong. It's like they're the people who go and spend the money at those places.
yeah, and then they're legislating what we can do with our bodies, blah blah, in every way. But yeah, it's definitely, I think that right now, it's when I think about small businesses and different people that I want to support, I think about the people who give us like comfort what in the normal times. And I know that some people I know, they're trying to get into the webcam thing, they're trying to get into like OnlyFans,
Yeah.
trying to get into more remote erotic photography and things like that. But I just feel like it says something about a society when we don't celebrate women. Like women are creators and, you know, muses and inspirers, and you know, yeah. But I love being able to talk about this stuff with you, because it's something that I care about a lot, and yeah. But another question I wanted to ask you is there, since obviously we've shared just that stuff, but is there something about you that you want to share that people may not know about you? And that definitely doesn't include rap snacks, because I think everyone knows.
Well, what's funny is I was going to either talk about the sex work world in this, even though like I do talk about it a lot, but I'm trying to be more and more open about it. But then this is probably, it's connected to Rap Snacks and this world, but that and if you follow or like following me closely on Instagram, you probably know these kind of things about me, but that I pretty much strictly only listen to like hip hop music, which I feel like is also combined with my love of the strip club world. A lot of that music is made for the strip club for all the people who don't understand what this music is supposed to be. I think, well, it's just like that a stereotype that if people look at me, if they don't know me really at all, with like long black hair and I make horror movies, like I must only listen to like metal and Marilyn Manson, who I love Marilyn Manson, but like really mostly just listen to R&B and hip hop and have loved like dancing my whole life, not just strip dancing, but all dancing. But there's something, yeah.
It's good for you dancing. It helps to, especially lately, like I've just been moving in my apartment.
Yeah. It's still like the best workout because it's fun and you work out like your whole body without even realizing muscles that exist that you didn't know about. And it's like, yeah, like you said, with all this sitting at home, especially, I'm like, I need to dance for like an hour and I'll feel a lot better. Is basically what I tell myself.
Yeah, I just switched my routine to, I normally do like a HIIT workout, high intensity interval training, or yoga or Pilates or mixture. But I just needed to switch things up. And now every week I'm assigning myself a music video dance. So this week is like Britney Spears' Hit Me Baby One More Time.
I have to I don't know how much dancing you do, but there's probably more choreographers now I'm discovering, but there's this one guy, of course, it's like Matt Stefani. I'm not saying his name right, but there's all these choreographers that like teach you dances on YouTube now. I don't know why they're not charging me money for it. Maybe they're making plenty off like the ads, but
Karma bucks.
It's a dude who like, he uploads a video of the dance, like he tours around doing this, but where like the dance will be played like 10 times back to back with just like, it's like part of a song. Yeah. And then he has another video where he'll upload it and teach you it like step by step. And it is like the best workout and so much fun. And he's put some like a couple up every week. It's like free dance classes unlimited. It's like amazing.
Yeah, well, send me that and I'll put that in the description for your episode. Nice. I'm honestly like, I just need it, but I think that you get a better workout when your mind is engaged, because you can mindlessly like do a spin bike, but you can't mindlessly be like pop lock, like you can't.
Yes.
Like I'm driving Clay crazy because he's doing really specific, like almost like military-esque workouts, and then I'm like
he needs to learn the Britney Spears dance too. Which I was the kind of person as a like kid who would record the videos off TV and then try to teach myself the dance. And you'd be like, why do they keep cutting away from the dance? I don't know what they did there. And you're like so upset. I'm
upset about the Britney Spears one I'm learning right now, because clearly it's like cut throughout the video. So like I can't dance along with the video. Mm-hmm. So it's like I mean, it's tough. It's more in the face. It's more in the like the attitude, and a lot of people like throw it away, like shimmy shimmy, like I'm just enjoying it because it keeps my mind busy. And yeah, but anyway, on that note, it's so lovely talking to you, and I wanted to know, what would you like me to tell the universe on your behalf?
Well, that life is short and they need to stop wasting their time.
God, that's a great one. All right.
Because I hear so many people, like when you ask them like, well, what do you like if they want to make a movie, or like that seems to be what is in my life a lot, but whatever your goal is, like you hear like their attitude might be like, yeah, maybe, I don't, we'll see what happens. And I'm like, if you actually think like that, like nothing's going to happen. Like you don't see what happens. You make a plan and then you make it happen, or it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And sometimes you actually learn more on the way, and then, then you build on your experiences. I mean, you did Call Girl, and then you built from that and built from that and built from that, and here you are with the Stylist, and I'm so excited. And I think that now more than ever, people are going to be excited to learn a little bit about like a psychopathic hairstylist, especially. Everyone's like, you know, demanding haircuts right now. But you know, you're back at it. You're lucky to be in. I'm in such a densely populated area that it's like, you know, I'm learning how to. I'm growing out this blonde a little bit, and just learning how to take care of myself. But you
Crazy time.
work, and
Thank you.
thank you so much for coming on, and I'm excited for everybody to check out your work.
I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yeah.
I hope it comes out this year.
Rolling.
Life is short. Stop wasting your time.